Summertime and the living is free.
You're on.
Oh, I am?
Yes.
Oh, never mind. Hi, my name is Gary Hopper. You're welcome to Rock, Paper, Hand Grenades. I am your host this evening. My co-host have abandoned me, and I'm really scared. But luckily, fortunately for me, we have Jessica Love, who is the driving force behind Love Java. Love Java. So I'm sitting here drinking my Dunkin' Donuts coffee, so I don't know if that's going to be offensive or whether she's going to take me outside and beat me after the show or whatever. That'd be cool too. But anyway, so Jessica,
Gary.
where are you from anyway? What continent?
I am from this continent.
That's good.
I
That's good.
moved up here to New Hampshire, this beautiful paradise, for the Free State Project in May of 2011, so about 6 years.
Okay.
And I spent the first 5 years in Manchester, and I'm now located in Concord.
Oh, you went up north
Yeah, a little bit.
for the cooler weather. So what now? So you came up here as part of the Free State Project. So you're kind of into the whole. You're kind of coming up here because you hope there's enough support to help start businesses and do things like that. Also, is that
Yes,
correct?
indeed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Small
there's
business.
Right, because a lot of places you go when they try to crush small business as quick as they can. As quick as a small business starts, they'll figure out a way to crush it so it doesn't multiply and start to threaten the larger stores and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Is that
yeah.
correct?
Yeah, and here it seems pretty easy to start businesses. There's also been interesting things, though, about food businesses in particular. Definitely, like, food trucks are tough here because that was definitely an idea. I've been doing the festivals for a few years, and I know some people that have had a hard time, like, starting food carts and food trucks, and it seems pretty tricky, and they definitely don't want to have food trucks, like, in downtown areas and stuff. But otherwise, it seems pretty small business friendly.
Yeah, I know. I guess there is a lot of regulations, which, and you can kind of understand it. Like, in other words, someplace like Margaritas, they pay taxes on the property. They pay this. They pay that. If somebody pulls out a food truck right out in front and starts selling tacos,
Right.
and they're only paying
Yeah.
$50 a day or something like that for a fee for the food truck, I could see how they would be a little bit miffed.
Sure.
By the same token, I always thought the coolest food truck on the planet would be one that was actually making hamburgers, like actually had a barbecue going.
Okay.
Because the smell would just drive people. Because I'm on my motorcycle a lot,
Okay.
and there's nothing more. Because as a legislator, I'm thinking of passing a law
Okay.
that if you cook outside within smell shot of the right of way, anybody on a motorcycle is able to come in and have at least one burger. Because it's brutal, you go by some pretty bad smelling things, but every now and again you're driving along and you smell the barbecue. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
wow, that's brutal.
That'll get you.
Oh yeah, it's not fair. But I actually thought a food cart that was actually had hamburgers cooking on a grill
Yeah.
would just pull people in from everywhere because the smell would
Yeah.
drive them nuts if they didn't.
Yeah, and I totally agree. And I always was thinking of like a paleo food truck with like grass-fed.
Paleo?
Yeah,
What does that mean?
grass-fed burgers and sweet potato
okay.
fries, and of course butter coffee.
Right. Of course, butter coffee. Yeah.
So that was always an idea. I loved the smell of the beef, and brewing coffee is always a nice smell to
Yeah,
get people
that's
to
another
come
one.
over too.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's. But those are pretty tough to actually run in New Hampshire.
Yeah, they. It seems that every time there's a lot of hoops to jump through in the food businesses, and then like you jump through the hoop, and then now another hoop appears, and more red tape, and oh, you're almost there, just do this one more thing, and then you do the one more thing, and there's another thing that you have to do. And I know somebody that actually like liquidated her whole business because she couldn't actually ever open it. They just kept asking her to do more and more things. And then also some friends with a pub over in Concord definitely had a lot of work cut out for them to open that place.
Right.
So, yep.
Yeah, I don't understand that. And in this way, because I'm not a libertarian, but I do agree, or have believed forever, that if you wanted to start a business in Ware, New Hampshire, or any place else, it should be a quite defined list, an easily obtainable list of this is what you have to do. This is the permit you need for A, B, C, and D. Mm-hmm. And these are the people to talk to, and they give you a booklet. This is how to start a business in my town. Mm-hmm. And I don't understand why more towns don't do that. But mm-hmm. most towns do. I don't know if it's protectionism or what it is, but they'll end up doing exactly what you said. They'll have, they'll just make it so difficult to start anything that nobody, people just give up.
Sure.
Which is horrible.
Yep.
So what you need to do is get together your libertarian friends mm-hmm. and actually take over the government of any city. It doesn't matter which one.
Right?
Right?
Yeah.
So that you have such a control of the city that you can start rewriting those regulations in the city. That city theoretically would just blossom like crazy because everybody would want to go there to start a business because it was easy. And it was simple.
Sure.
And it'd be so profitable.
Unrestricted free market.
Exactly.
Heck yeah.
So I think that the Free State Project is kind of missing the mark. They got to concentrate their efforts because...
Well, the Free State Project actually has accomplished its goal. Its goal was to get 20,000 people to pledge that they would move here.
Yeah.
So that happened a year ago.
Yeah, that's why my friend John Jeskovikas from Ware was on the show 2 weeks ago. Really nice guy, and he was part of that. He was number 203 or something like that. Oh,
wow. Neat.
Yeah, and he was talking about that they had actually fulfilled their goal. But I'm just saying that it'd just be cool to see a city with people who really care about the ability to start businesses without people who are in competition with whatever business that is putting their thumb down to make sure that something doesn't happen, because that's what happens.
Absolutely. Yeah, totally. There's a great example is the Free State Project's flagship event is PorcFest, the summer festival. It's a week long.
That already happened
in
this year,
Lancaster.
Right?
Yep, yeah. Up at Rogers Campground. And what they've done basically, which came from a history in the history is a spontaneous order. Basically, they had the festival many years ago, and there was only a little bit of food available being served by the venue. And so the liberty-minded people started coming and making their own food and selling their own food without any permits or anything, and kind of just like setting up a pop-up, and serving their favorite dishes and whatever to feed themselves and the crowd. And it just developed over the years to the point where there became a section of the festival called Agora Valley. And that's like downtown PorcFest, and that's where everybody goes to set up a little business. And it's all completely agorist. There's no permits. They're not legitimate businesses, but it's the voluntary, spontaneous free market there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it works. Everybody partakes in it, even if they don't have a regular business. They come out and they sell their wares or their skills or service.
Right. Yeah, that's actually pretty cool.
It's like an agorist experiment and experience that we get to enjoy every year at PorcFest. And then I tried to recreate the Agora Valley PorcFest experience and build a local independent economy with the idea of Community Market Day, where outside of PorcFest, people that believe in agorism and the free market and like-minded community members outside can get together and buy, sell, trade with each other every Sunday in a different location around the state. And so, to me, that was the best thing that I've seen happen as far as, like you said, like focusing on getting this all happening in one section. And then there's also places like Grafton where a lot of Free Staters have gravitated to, and there's a very low population, and laws are little
Oh,
there,
yeah.
and they kind of have a lot to say about what's going on in Grafton. And even here, like in Manchester, Concord, even in the cities, there's a lot of libertarians and even peaceful anarchists that are part of the local government.
Okay, define that for me, because anarchism is the idea that there is no government, and basically it's every man for himself.
It is
So
anarchism
peaceful
is-
and anarchism seem like contradictions.
Well, anarchy is, a belief in life without rulers, and it's a peaceful anarchy is based on like the non-aggression principle. You just don't hurt anybody. It's, be good to your neighbor. You treat people how you want to be treated, kind of thing. Don't initiate any aggression or force on anyone. And self-defense, cool, but don't initiate force on anybody, but definitely still exercise your right to protect yourself.
Yep.
And so that's
Okay.
that's like the one main thread that runs consistent throughout all of people that come here through the Free State Project is at least some kind of belief in the non-aggression principle. Although how to make that work and to build like a voluntary society, the opinions are spread.
Oh, yeah,
You'll
yeah,
never
yeah.
have two people with the same opinion in a room,
No, that's actually if I think people don't understand that. I was years ago, myself and a busload of mostly Republicans went to Canada because the Canadian government paid for it. So people like Al Baldessaro and his wife were there. My wife and Jen Coffey was there with her husband
Awesome.
at the time. I don't know how many people were there, but at any rate, my wife was shocked because we're going up there, and all the way up there, we're arguing over pro-life and pro-choice,
Sure.
pro this, against that, all kinds of variables. And she was shocked because she watches the news, and she assumed that all Republicans were playing off the same page, and they're really not.
Right.
And libertarians are pretty much the same way. I mean, you have, and these are the ones that actually do bother me, is there's a segment, hopefully very small segment of the libertarian movement, that the political movement is a justification for self-indulgence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Most of the ones I've run into, like the Dan and Carol McGuire and stuff like that, understand that liberty is contingent on self-responsibility.
Right. Independence equals responsibility.
Right.
It's
And the
it's
more
not- yeah.
self-reliance and self-control you have, if every citizen had it, you wouldn't need government at all,
Right.
in effect.
Yep.
Or as Benjamin Franklin said, if men were gentlemen, there'd be no need for government.
Absolutely.
But anyway, so how do we segue easily into coffee? Because I really don't know. I don't
Well,
have
we
any
can easily
idea.
segue into Love Java because my product, Love Java, has all kinds of stuff to do with freedom because it is the gateway to your health freedom. So that's how I see it. It's still like part of my activism towards liberty is that this product really helps to heal your body and your brain.
How so?
And,
How so?
Well, right here we have the pouch.
Like if I just set that up with an IV, I'll get better.
Well, I think that when you drink it, especially as a warm liquid, hot liquid, you're actually absorbing so many fatty acids, vitamins, nutrients. What
Yep.
this is a pouch of concentrated, super high grade coffee. It's cold brewed. It's an organic, fair trade.
Okay.
Guatemalan.
See, I was asking before. I
Mm-hmm.
think this is correct. I think I'm actually wiser than Socrates
Ooh.
because he was acknowledged as the wisest man in Athens
Okay.
because he didn't know anything.
Okay.
he went to the tradesmen, and the tradesmen, because they were good at a trade, presumed they knew other things that they really had no grasp of. And the politicians and the lawyers were all arrogant, so they also failed the test. And the oracle, I believe, told, if I get the story correct, it's been a year since I read it, that Socrates was the wisest because he understood he didn't know.
Right.
So therefore, because I am so profoundly ignorant about coffee, I am wiser, at least in this instance, than Socrates.
Right.
Unless he didn't know, there wasn't coffee. Where's coffee from? That's South America.
I totally agree with you. I actually feel the same way about politics. Like, I don't have any, I don't have any real, like, education in politics. I don't really understand what a lot of the terminology is. I just believe in personal liberty. My parents, I just was not educated about politics at all.
Yeah.
I don't really understand a lot of stuff like that. And it is a good thing. It's great to be ignorant to that stuff. And I just believe in, like, sovereignty. Like, I'm born sovereign and I have the right to put whatever I choose into my body and choose my own medicinal modalities and all that good stuff.
So, coffee.
Yes.
Coffee beans, where did they first? It was South America, right?
It's from the island of Java.
The original coffee beans are from the Isle of Java.
That's the discovery point. Is there was a lot of happy goats dancing around, and
no way.
They wanted to find
The
out
old
why
happy goat
the
syndrome.
happy goat syndrome, and then they found that these goats were munching on these coffee beans.
Where's Java?
I think you're right. Indonesia.
Indonesia. Okay. So it wasn't South America. It was Indonesia. All right. All right.
And so this is also around the time of the last, I believe, transition from Dark Ages into, like, the Renaissance. And so, like, people, it was, like, medieval times, I believe. And people were using alcohol and whatnot. And once coffee was discovered, people started putting down the alcohol and picking up the coffee. And then they built little community cafes. And they sat around having coffee.
That's true at Alcoholics Anonymous, too.
Yep.
People put down the alcohol and start sucking down coffee like it's going out of style.
Yeah, totally. And it might be another vice, but what I have here in this formula is all super powerful, healthy stuff. It's not like the quality of coffee that comes into America commercially available is rejected by most of the rest of the world. Like,
really?
China does not accept the kind of coffee that's on our supermarket shelves.
Really?
Yeah, it's just...
Is Juan Valdez still picking all that stuff? Because that seems like a lot. I mean, because I thought of my own starting a charity, the Juan Valdez Relief Fund.
Okay.
Because it seemed like you got this little old guy with a burro picking all the coffee beans for the entire United States.
Yeah.
I mean, buy the guy a tractor or something like that, you know?
Sure.
But is I'm not. I'm not mentally stable, so
okay.
just
a lot of quality gets lost in the processes of the development of manufacturing. A lot of quality gets lost, and so, like, it's good to me that I know that, like, this is a really high grade coffee, and, like, these beans are, like, hand picked, and they are from the top of a mountain that has fresh, clean water.
That's in Java.
This is in Guatemala.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Guatemala basically has kind of reproduced the ideal
Guatemala has
environment.
some nice selections. I actually have used a Guatemalan from a different roaster before, and also I like a Peruvian and a Honduran have come across my way that have the specifications that I look for to make this product. But I recently made a full switch from the roastery that I was using here in Manchester for several years to a family business that just started locally through some other activist friends, and they have a very high quality product. It's even non-fermented, which is very hard to find. What does that mean? It means that they completely skip the fermentation step of the coffee processing, which I believe is a step where a lot of toxins are developed in the fermentation process.
Okay, so So you wait until the coffee, because the coffee beans, I presume, are kind of green initially,
Right.
and then they ripen and they become what color?
Yep. And like there's like the pulp, around it, and so like that stuff all comes off. It's mucilage, and like the way that they take that off is all different in different beans and different roasters, and so um, what you want to get is like a
So
water
is it
processed.
okay? I'm still learning. So is it like almost like a grape with a bean in the
Yes.
center?
Yes.
So it looks like a grape,
Like a fruit. Yep.
like a fruit. Does anybody sell those just to eat those?
I don't think so. I wonder what they would have in them, but I don't
I
think
wonder
so.
what they taste like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh. Anyway,
There's a mechanical demucilage machine, like
that's
$1 million
really
machine
complicated. What does that mean?
that takes that pulp off automatically with a machine.
Okay.
But I think that a lot of times they put the beans into the fermentation bin for like 24 hours, and completely skipping that step changes the flavor of the coffee a little bit, but definitely I think changes the health benefits too.
Okay, so they ferment them in a bin for 24 hours. What is is that heated or is that cooled or is it?
I don't think it's heated.
Or do they put some chemicals in there to get rid of the pulp easily, or clean the beans off, or what is it for?
I think it is actually to soften the fruit around the bean, that mucilage, the cherry part. I think
Oh,
fermenting is to soften that part.
so they can clean them off easier.
Yeah.
Okay, okay,
It's been a long time since I read over exactly how the coffee is processed,
That's all right.
because I was always on a hunt for non-fermented coffee, which I could not find, non-fermented beans. And lo and behold, my friends started a coffee roastery, micro roaster in their house, and it is a fair trade, strictly hard
Oh, that's
bean
cool. Look at-
European.
look at- Paul
Cool.
found an
Yeah.
actual. Okay, so that's what it looks like.
Yeah,
The bean on the inside of the. All right.
exactly.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
The yeah, I wonder what those taste like. That's actually pretty interesting. Now I'm
Right?
curious.
Sure.
So you were looking for ones that didn't go through that process because
Which I never did find until my friends opened this business. But I did find very high quality coffee right here in Manchester. It was water processed and from a very high elevation mountain, small farm co-op, hand picked, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like this is better since I have been using the new coffee beans and selling to the same market at my festivals. People love it. And I've also been adding a little bit of cacao powder and all natural sugar-free sweeteners to make it more like what you said, like what you're drinking, Dunkin' Donuts. A lot of people are used to mocha lattes and
well, it's
cream
not
and sugar.
Well, yes, yeah. I don't actually have much sugar in mine. It's
Awesome.
just I go to Dunkin' Donuts mainly because I feel like spending money at Starbucks is contributing to the delinquency of a country.
Right? I can see that. And also, I mean, their coffee is kind of expensive, but the quality is, it just has, I think, that dark roast kind of burnt coffee taste that some people enjoy. And there's a lot of people that don't really like the taste of coffee, and a lot of those people go to Dunkin' Donuts. And just for the appeal of those markets, I tried to hit somewhere in the middle of that.
Right.
But really, the market for this is people that want to help heal themselves.
Eat healthy,
right?
not stuff that's too processed.
Sure. And
Okay,
like,
so now back to the beans. So the beans,
Yep.
they pick the beans. They use a water process to get rid of the pulp around the beans themselves.
right.
Then where does it? What now? You've got all these beans. Do they roast them, or what do they do?
Usually set them like on beds to dry in the sun.
Like really comfy beds, like so they're not
Just like beds out in the
oh,
jungle.
the jungle.
Yeah.
Okay. So they set them out to dry, almost like you dry like skins and stuff like that in
Sure.
olden days. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then green beans are shipped, and then green beans are good for a long, long time. And then it's roasted when I order it and shipped right to me in a couple of days. So super fresh.
Now, why do they roast it? Why is what's wrong with the green beans?
That's a good question. There's I believe that it's you can't really like brew. You won't get anything out of it until it's roasted. Does that make
Oh,
sense?
maybe because it dries it out enough. Once you get a bean, what do they pulverize it so you can brew a coffee with it?
Yeah, like grind it.
Grind it, yeah.
Yep.
So maybe they got to dry it out enough so that it can be pulverized. Otherwise, it'd just be
Yeah.
moist fiber,
Mm-hmm.
which would have already have its own moisture and not be absorbing any other.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm just learning. Sorry,
Yeah.
I get Drainber image.
Club. That's okay.
Yeah. So they have the green beans,
Mm-hmm.
and then they roast them that day and then send them to you.
Sure.
And what do you do with it?
So, yeah, they are roasting 15 pounds for me right now, and they'll either ship them or deliver them to my door. And what I do is I've been actually mixing the grind. It's a half fine grind and half coarse grind, and I cold brew very strong concentrate.
Okay, what? I've heard the term, and I do not know what cold brew means. I assume it just means what it says. In other words, use cold water instead of hot.
Sure, yeah, I just use my clean purified water that I get at the temperature that it's at, and I take a big container and I put lots of coffee into a nut milk bag.
Okay.
You know what I'm
Yep,
talking
yep.
about? And like big one, and fill it up with water, and I do like 18 to 24 hours, and drain that, and then basically I take the coffee concentrate and the ingredients that make this so special, which is the grass-fed butter and the MCT oil, and I put that in there, and then so it has all of the butter and oil fats, but the coffee part is concentrated, so that you can pour this into a mug and just add hot water, and you have the whole thing. You don't have to blend it.
Okay. So that's so X number of teaspoons of that into a coffee mug and some hot water, and you've got your. All
Right. This is like 2 cups worth. Since I have this for breakfast every day for 5 years, I take these with me everywhere I go. I'm a huge fan of Contigos. And one of these pouches will make 2 regular coffee cups, so you could make a cup in the morning and take the rest with you.
Right.
Or if you're like me on the go with these awesome mugs, this pouch can go in here and it'll make enough for a whole Contigo full.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so you said what kind of butter?
Grass-fed butter.
What does that mean? I don't even know what that means. So.
All butter is good butter to me, but grass-fed butter has a lot of rich in nutrients and fatty acids,
from
and
cows or from.
yeah, from cows that are feeding on live green growing grass and not
Okay.
grains.
Right.
And they're gonna have like butyrate and like things that are difficult to find in the diet. The X Factor vitamin K2, which is great for bones, and all kinds of awesome stuff in the grass-fed butter. I use Kerrygold from Ireland.
Kerrygold? What's that
Kerrygold
mean?
butter. It's
Oh,
a
Kerrygold
brand.
butter. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
You can get grass-fed butter at local farms and stuff. Kerrygold is fantastic. It's a nice dark, rich color. Their cows are out in the green pastures like almost the whole year.
Right.
So it's a great environment to make butter.
Okay. And the butter is for what health benefit does the butter specifically have?
So all of the healthy fats from the butter, obviously I'm already speaking from the premise that the saturated fat myth has been debunked, and that we're realizing, and more people are starting to wake up to the ideas that this low fat, high chemical diet is actually not good for us, and
Actually,
that
Atkins came up with that.
Yep.
What, 30 or 40
Yeah.
years ago when he was laughed at.
Yep, and he was very, very high protein, but yeah, same thing.
But
Like
he said basically the fats in butter and stuff like that aren't going to hurt you.
right.
It's the fabricated fats that are the ones that are
Processed.
going to kill you.
Sure, processed oils. Like if you like, I have it on my website. Actually, there's a couple of charts that I pulled off the web that show the decrease of people using butter, lard, and traditional fats, and the increase of margarine, canola oil, and all this stuff, it exactly coincides with the rise of heart disease, cancer, diabetes. I mean, the exact same parallels are drawn as far as like the American health just going terrible, as to the rise of processed oils and the fall of butter and
Right.
bacon and all
Yeah,
these
there-
things
there-
that we've
there-
been told are bad for
Yeah,
us.
it's hard to absolutely say there's a causal effect, but
Yeah.
there is circumstantial evidence.
Sure.
Yeah, I get it.
And,
Because
like,
I
for-
think the other variable too is when they started going to canola oil and things like that, is the same time that people stopped cooking their own food,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
really is brutal because
Absolutely.
processed food has so many, phosphates and garbage like that in it that you know what?
It's Frankenfood. And there's
Frankenfood.
another chart that shows the processed food thing take off, and I called that section Trading Health for Convenience.
Right.
And I said to keep up with the modern diet, like people eagerly trade their health for convenience, but we're so busy working and doing all these things that it's very difficult to not buy these packaged Frankenfoods for convenience. But absolutely the same takeoff of the processed oils, margarine, canola oil, and processed foods are all like right in the same time for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I know we had I forget how many years ago. We had Fresh Air. I'm not Fresh Air. That was different. That was Lorenzo. We had a foreign exchange student, and the foreign exchange students would get together like once or something during the summer and talk to each other. And I was talking to this girl from, I believe it was Romania, right? And I said, so what do most of the people think about coming over to the United States? She says, well, most of the girls are really afraid they're going to get fat. And I said, really? He says, oh yeah, that's the biggest concern when they come over here is nothing else other than the fact that they're going to end up, tubby. And I said, well, why do you think that is? She said, and this is like 20 years ago, I think, but she said that it's because in Romania, if they want chicken soup, they kill the chicken, they boil it or whatever, and they go get potatoes and all this other stuff. It takes all day, but they end up with a really nice chicken soup at the end of the day, made with all fresh ingredients, with no garbage in it. And so all the food you eat is good for you. Whereas over here, if you want chicken soup, you go to the store, grab a can of Campbell's, and put it in the microwave, and you're good to go, right?
Gross.
And I actually like it, but
Yeah, I mean, I remember the taste. It tastes good, but now when I see processed foods, I just think of like, oh, those cans are lined with chemicals, and
and lead.
yeah,
A lot of them have
it's
lead in
just-
them.
Yeah, and like I'm all for being gluten free, and
What is
so
gluten?
gluten is the protein in wheat,
Okay.
and it's,
Oh yeah. Somebody told me that, but I
Yeah.
don't remember stuff very well.
that's okay.
Helps with my ignorance.
Sure,
Yes,
absolutely.
it does. Yeah. Okay, so you have actual butter. You don't have cocoa butter in there and stuff like that.
I do not have cocoa butter. That's an interesting.
Or no, not cocoa butter. What am I- coconut oil.
There's
I'm only
not,
asking because I'm selfish. I'm allergic to coconuts.
Okay, that's interesting because they're pretty hypoallergenic. But what? So there's not coconut oil in here, but there is an extract of coconut oil. It's MCT oil, and that is
MCT.
specifically just the medium chain triglycerides from coconut oil.
I don't know what that means.
Those are medium chain fats.
Fats.
And so very, very rare in the modern diets to find medium chain fats, except for like in the tropical islands, and
Right,
Indian food has a lot of coconut and curry and stuff, so they get a little more, but it's hard to get enough to really like nourish your brain and keep it like functioning optimally.
Okay.
It also, increases your metabolism and raises your fat burning. Helps like I said, with your brain, it helps focus and concentrate, and just memory improves. They've been actually giving MCT oil to some Alzheimer's patients and
Oh,
having
really?
amazing results. Yeah.
Huh.
So super brain food, great physical energy from coconut oil.
Okay. And what else is in there?
So the formula that I decided to use based on my market research of festival vending is definitely the chocolate with the natural sweeteners. I drink it unsweetened at home and without the chocolate most times, but I don't mind it with the chocolate and the sweetener. But for the mass market, they almost every time prefer the chocolate with the sweetener. So I came up with a mocha. So in addition to the coffee and the grass-fed butter and MCT oil, there is organic cacao powder that's just raw, pure chocolate, no sugar.
Okay.
And then the sweetener is a blend of erythritol and xylitol.
What do those mean?
Erythritol is a sugar alcohol from corn, and xylitol is a sugar alcohol from birch trees.
From birch trees?
Yeah. And they're both zero glycemic index. They blended together especially taste pretty great. And xylitol is good for your teeth. It's
really?
actually been shown to help lower, blood sugar levels and stuff like that. So it has its own health benefits, of course.
So if stuff from birch trees is actually sweet, why doesn't anybody make birch syrup?
Yeah, right?
Right?
Yeah, that was coming to me too, and you said that.
See? Great minds think alike.
That'll be the next product. Birch trees.
Birch syrup.
Birch sap.
Birch syrup.
Syrup.
It has to be
Yep.
syrup.
Yep. Now, one thing that we did not talk about being in the coffee is the coffee pouch is the very first ingredient.
I can't. You're going to ask me
That's
to read?
the most important.
Love is a drug, you know. I don't know.
Well,
Do you have
sure.
to get the FDA approval for that?
I mean, don't you know, you gotta get the FDA approval for everything.
Well, that's true. Too.
But yeah, totally. This is definitely a formula of multiple substances that are very powerful.
Oh, anyway, for the viewers, the first ingredient she has listed is love.
Love, baby. That is the number one ingredient. And because I just feel like I've put a lot of love and energy and passion into this, and I have had an amazing transformation experience using this product, and everybody that I talked to about it when I first started drinking it and sharing the coffee with them, just making it home and being like, you got to try a cup of this, it just got to be like, wow, this is just so incredible. Like, how do we sell this? What are we going to do with this? Or what are you going to do with it? And so I've lived in a few different places over the last couple of years, and everybody that I've lived with, of course, every morning I'm like, hey man, you gotta drink this coffee, or at least try it. And they're like, okay, and they're like, wow, this is amazing. I had a killer day. And a few days later, they're like, I don't know, I just feel different. And a month later, they've, lost 20 pounds. And
Oh, really?
I mean, I didn't start drinking it to lose weight, but it will melt the fat right off of you.
Really?
And a lot of people have lost a pound of fat a day drinking this for breakfast. And the person I live with right now has lost 75 pounds since November.
Just drinking this. No other
Mostly,
change
yeah.
to their diet?
It's cleaned it up a little bit. I wouldn't say 100%, or I wouldn't also say that it was a major transformation. Just
Right.
he kind of avoids gluten for sure. He doesn't really eat as much vegetables as I do, or even a whole lot of vegetables at all. But avoiding gluten, he didn't really drink sodas or stuff like that. So
Well,
Not too
I
bad.
know on my diet, my not diet as in losing weight, but diet, what I actually do
Right.
is I ingest a lot of coffee,
yeah,
because I don't drink, I don't smoke cigarettes, but I'm still and I try to avoid sugar because most of the sugar is
Yeah.
just garbage,
sure,
Yeah.
yeah,
But yeah, that's actually pretty interesting.
yeah.
Now, just so you know, you can't mention cost on the show.
Okay,
For whatever reason, that's part of their deal.
okay.
But you can explain to people where they can find out where to get it.
Awesome. Yeah. Definitely www.lovejava.com, or actually
LUV?
you might not even need the www. LUV
Yeah.
Java JAVA.com. You can go on there, check out some information about what has happened to our food industry and our bodies and brains. And there's some subscription service models offered there to you, and that way you can have it delivered to your home and have it for breakfast and take it with you. And the super
So if
ultra
you get
convenience.
this, you don't even need like the brewing, all the brewing stuff that most people have in their house, because you can just put it.
You just need hot water.
You just need hot water.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty cool too.
Yeah. And so like all
'Cause
of
that's
these.
one reason I have never gotten one of those, because then you have another appliance on the cotton picking
know, right?
kitchen, on the kitchen table.
One more
kitchen,
appliance.
Whatever it is.
When I sell it by the cup at the festivals, it just kept hearing the same question: is how do I get this at home? And I'm like, oh, well, I'll show you where to buy the ingredients, and then you just put them in a blender. And almost every time their answer was, oh, I'm never going to do that.
Right. Exactly.
And so after a couple of years of hearing this, I was like, I should make something.
right.
You know,
right,
and
right.
like I should be writing down all these names of people that are asking me how to ship it to their house, you know?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
so I did, and there are a couple other products on the market that are a little bit different. They're using freeze-dried coffee and powdered ghee, which is butter with the milk fat removed. And if you, to me, the market is the people that already are into butter coffee, because it's definitely a huge thing right now.
Okay.
And so they are all scrambling for a way to take it with them. I have friends in my...
You mean like when they die?
No, just to take it with them, like when they travel, and take it with them for the day, and to be able to have it without having to be handcuffed to their coffee maker and their blender.
Right. Right.
You know,
Right.
and so, I know a lot of other business people and activists and people that travel, and they definitely would like to be able to take it with them, or even just the convenience of not mixing it every morning. Some people are willing to pay for, and so to me, the market is the people that already use it, because the people that outside of that don't really even know what it is, haven't heard of it, they don't know about putting butter in your coffee or paleo living or anything like that. However, I was sent a link to an article today saying why Americans are putting butter in their coffee and how it will save your life. Like,
Oh, really?
yeah, that was the article somebody sent me today. So I mean, it's gaining a lot of media, but still, like the mass population is not aware of this idea, concept.
At some point, how big a batch do you brew?
I do enough to make like a few dozen pouches at a time.
Okay.
Eh,
Because I'd like to try it without the cocoa stuff.
Yeah, without chocolate. Okay.
No. I'm sorry.
Without the
without the coconut.
Yeah.
Because the problem with my allergies. Like I was actually kind of upset.
Right?
I went to. I'm not. I shouldn't call them out until I have a chance to talk to them. But I went to a place they had a stir fry,
Okay.
and I didn't think anything of it. There was no sign, and I had it, and it was like kind of bothered because if I'm allergic to something, it's the what it is I've got a hyperactive immune system.
Okay.
Because most health food nuts I'll say that I have physical problems. I go, oh, you just need to improve your immune system. No, what I really need to do is somehow retard my immune system. It's way over frickin' clocked.
Okay. Do you have any
And-
other allergies?
Everything. I'm allergic to everything.
Yep.
Anyway, so I went there and I had the stir fry, and it bothered my throat a little bit, because that's usually how I can tell is my throat gets itchy, and my skin kind of broke out the next day. And I said, well, I didn't have anything, because I'm very careful about what I eat, because it'll kill me.
Right.
And it turns out they're using peanut oil to do the stir fry. But I didn't find that out till the next time, and I asked a question about something else. And I said, well, we use it for and I said, really? And you don't have a sign up?
Yep.
So that was, anyway, I don't know why I brought that up.
A lot of people have significant relief of multiple allergies by going off of gluten.
Really? Why?
Yeah. It just is so inflammatory to so many things inside your system. everything is controlled by your gut, and gluten just tears up your gut.
Well, I know that, the interesting thing is when I was little, it's horrible, but the doctors always told me that allergies are basically psychosomatic,
Okay.
which meant that I was imagining hurting myself.
Right. I've heard this.
And luckily, by the time I was a teenager, I figured out that there were many times where I've had allergic reaction where I didn't know
Sure.
that there was something in my surroundings to be allergic to. So if it was psychosomatic,
Yeah.
I would have to have known.
Right.
And so I realized that they were. Oh, we got somebody on line one. Jay on line one. I'll take this. Hello, Jay. What's up? Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, what's up? You're on the air.
Hi. So I was calling. My name is Jay. I was calling for talk with Jessica about her product. I'm really interested in the bulletproof coffee she's offering. I just wanted
It's
to know
called
if you could
Love
talk a
Java.
little more about what exactly the process is for going from this pouch to making the actual product, and just talk more about how you prepare it and what different ideas you have for doing that.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, it's a concentrated cold brew, and then there's a full, little over 2 tablespoons of the grass-fed butter and a little over 2 teaspoons of the MCT oil in each pouch. Something also that we didn't touch on yet is the CBD infused version. That'll have 50 milligrams of CBD isolate from the cannabis plant. That is THC free.
Gotcha.
And incredibly healing. What I'm looking to do with this is to get it shelf stable and out to local markets that are in the target niche, and that would be like CrossFit gyms where they are really paleo crazy in there and super high fat, low carb, low toxin lifestyle. Maybe even some sporting centers, like the rock climbing places and mountain biking places. There also would be a great place to go. Would be anywhere that sells CBDs. I hope to have some of my friends that have CBD websites carry the product. They're actually pretty interesting.
How would you prepare it? Like you just mix it with water? Or
Oh yeah, so you just make hot water and you put this in a cup. This will make 2 regular cups or like 1 large travel mug. And so you just squeeze it in there and add hot water, and you have it all there. No blender
Cool.
required.
Okay,
That's pretty
Jay.
easy. Are there any other alternative preparation methods, or
Yeah,
is
you
that,
mix it.
the basic way to do it?
No, you mix it with ice cream.
I think that you definitely get the most health benefits out of it by drinking it warm or hot, because cold definitely slows your digestion, and you're basically absorbing liquid vitamins and nutrients and molecules. Is really amazing. But if you want to have an iced coffee on a hot day, I would definitely mix this with warm water and then throw some ice in there, and it'll be great. It's delicious. So we definitely do it at
How easily
festivals.
does it dissolve in water? Really quickly? Like, is it almost? Yeah, okay.
Yep. Absolutely. It's really like the first time that I made it and put hot water, I was just like, oh, it works like magic. I was like, yes.
I love magic.
I love it. Yeah. So
Oh.
it's super easy. Everybody's like, wow, this is really impressive that it's so convenient and
Yeah.
delicious. So
Awesome. Thanks, Jessica. Really excited to try your product.
thank
All
you.
right. Thanks, Jay. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Shelf life. So
Yeah.
I buy 10 of those or something from you. What kind of shelf life? You said it because not having it stable is actually kind of a good thing, because you're getting something legit.
Right.
There is that angle. But how long, if I kept that out on the counter, how many days before it starts to get it loses its nutritional value and or goes bad?
Yep. That is a fantastic question, yet to be determined. I do not know, but I just got sent to a food scientist through a friend, and so I'm hoping to figure those things out. And also, there's other products on the market that, like I said, there was a freeze-dried product with a powdered ghee, totally different. That has a long shelf life. It's not going to taste the same with the as a butter. And there's also a cold brew, ready-to-drink in a can product coming out.
Right.
That guy definitely has figured out how to stabilize that even cold with the butter. And he is putting his product at a 3-month shelf life, but it's also in further testing right now because they think that it can actually be good for longer than that. So I haven't reached that point yet where I've actually had it tested or figured out how to make it a shelf life for a certain amount of time, but we're right there. So soon
well, if I bought 10 of those and put them in the refrigerator.
Yeah, I mean, like, I have a stash of them sitting in my freezer because sometimes, like yesterday, somebody called and wanted 14 pouches, and I was able to make them fresh. But if I don't have a chance, like, I've got a stash sitting in my freezer. The other thing is that people leave butter on their counter
For a while,
for
yeah.
a while. Butter,
Yeah.
I mean, butter's pretty great.
It is pretty great.
I mean, I've left my coffee and these pouches out on the counter myself and drank them weeks.
Okay. So it's
So-
really not.
Yeah,
There's nothing in it that's really going to tend to go bad anyway.
not really.
Yeah.
We'll
But you
figure
still
that
have to
out.
have it tested because
Yeah.
so you can put on the label,
Absolutely.
use after be, by X day or whatever it is. Okay.
Yep,
All right.
totally.
Yeah. Anyway, I was going to tell you. I'll make it quick because we only got a couple minutes.
Okay.
So I went through the stage where they told me it was psychosomatic.
Yeah.
Then they said it was all, it was run by your brain. There's something wrong with your brain. Most recently, they figured out it's actually in your blood system.
Okay.
It's your blood system has is almost like a self-contained system. It doesn't rely on signals from the brain to do anything.
Okay.
And it is just reacting to anything quickly without permission from the brain. And that's what an allergic reaction is the body trying to expel whatever it is or get rid of what it is because it believes it's a threat to the system, even though it might be something as, like peanut butter, the one that really kills me.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of peanut butter, and my body goes nuts.
Yep.
But it's all in the blood system, so it was never in my mind. I
Yeah.
never actually had
Yeah.
any control over it. The only control I have is not taking stuff that I'm allergic to.
Right.
But anyway,
And then what do they think about people that have like seasonal allergies? Is that in their brain too?
they're breathing it in.
Yeah. I know a lot of people that have had significant relief from their seasonal allergies from going off of dairy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I've tried all kinds of different things. I've been dealing with it for a long time. I hung around with health food people and tried that for a while, and nothing seems to actually help at all.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they can go to. You're on Facebook too.
I am on Facebook. Love Java has a page, LUVJAVA, and I am Jessica Love. You can send me a friend request and also like my page.
All right, Jessica, and repeat the web address.
The web address is lovejava.com, LUVJAVA.
So people should get in touch with you if they try it for a week or so. You're telling me that after a week, if they don't notice a difference, then
Oh yeah, they'll have a better day the first day if they have it for breakfast for sure. And then if you try the CBD infused version with the super powerful healing cannabinoids that will not make you stoned and will not fail your drug test or THC free, that has been coming back with some amazing feedback.
right, yeah.
Healing all kinds of stuff. I'm at the point where I'm
Yeah,
wondering what it doesn't heal.
cannabinol in marijuana is the stuff that actually helps. It's actually the stuff that controls glaucoma and everything else.
Yeah.
But it is not the stuff that gives you hallucinations or anything
Right,
else. There's no,
right.
there's no that type of side effect. Which some
CBD
people,
is heals cancer, you know. So like I'm at the point where I'm like I wonder what this can't heal, because everybody's just like, oh yeah, that went away and that's way better, and I had one pouch.
so it's magic, basically. So
Absolutely.
she's selling magic with
Selling
love.
magic in a pouch with love.
With love as the
Made
main
with love.
ingredient, so you can't really go wrong.
You can't go wrong. I am very blessed and very grateful to be able to do this and to have this experience with my health and happiness, and to share it with other people that are just like blown away, and it really changes their life or their success, their motivation, all of that stuff.
Jessica, next time we have you on, you got to develop a patch so I can just put it on my
Right?
skin and just
Yeah.
let it absorb through the day.
Yeah.
You're awesome.
Awesome.
Jessica, we'll
Thank
see you
you.
guys next week.